right?
Sound music, let's go. Today I'm so excited to have another entrepreneur in my vlog, Gurbinder.
Yes. You have to have certain passions in life. And one thing I'm very passionate about is about the natural world. What can we do about these plastic bottles, and they find their way into rivers and eventually ocean, and now you have microplastics everywhere in our bloodstreams. We cannot solve a problem by being sad about it or whining about it. So we want to do something like a candle can dispel all the darkness. We have to bring something very beautiful and artful in this world. That if we help people think of hydration and drinking water, just like they think of drinking alcohol as very classy and something to be celebrated, but if they think of water as something as important, we could perhaps remove the problem of plastic waters.
You start your entrepreneur journey just not far ago, right?
Not far ago. So that is where it started, the idea. But Kellogg and people like you, Roman, played a huge part because at some level we all have aspirations of doing something, but we don't take that final step. At Kellogg, I felt supported, I felt encouraged, and I felt that if I did not do it now, there was no other place which was as secure, which would root for me, where I could be my true self. So I think this is one thing that Kellogg truly did for me. It allowed me to be my truly authentic self. And this is something I really cared about, caring for nature, making a difference in the world. And of course, it won't come without some sacrifice or making some drastic moves. So that's why I took my final leap. I left my job. I was Group Chief Operating Officer for a company, so I had a pretty good career there. But that was a comfort zone. So if you want to make a dent in the universe, like Steve Jobs said, you have to leave something behind.
This is part very interesting. You decided to go total different way.
Yes.
And how it was difficult or easy to make the decision?
So Roman, if you think of all great stories, right? It is great or interesting because of the choices that the protagonist, the hero or heroine, has to make. It is very difficult to be in that position, so I felt perhaps I had not done the right thing. But if I had to, there's a mindset. Are you going to be the author of your own story, or are you going to play character in somebody else's story? So if you have to be the main lead, the hero of your life story, you have to step out of your home, out of your comfort zone.
Because when people start, like for example myself, I came to this country and have that many options. I don't have good job.
Yes.
And I started like construction, pizza delivery guy, and after that truck driver, right? For me was no other option, right? And I have
Yes.
family which I want to help my family,
Right.
to my parents, to live better life. And I understand, okay, only probably if I make business,
Yes.
I can do something good for
Right.
my family. And in your position, like I have many people from my cohort ask like, how it's easy to leave a job, I have mortgage and start something new. It's total different risk. It's total different responsibility and comfort zone, like you said. And this
Right.
decision, your family support you to make it, or you was so comfortable, and if you fail, you have some support from your friends, for example.
That's a great question. So I think there's a mistake that many entrepreneurs or would-be entrepreneurs make, is that they overanalyze this decision. Now, as an entrepreneur, you can relate to it, and I'm sure any entrepreneur would relate to it. Almost everything that you had planned for, half the things that you planned for will not happen, and the other half that you could have never thought of would have happened. So it's not a decision in life that you can overanalyze. You know that it'll come with some risk. You can be very successful or you could fail, but one thing is for sure, that it will never be what you could plan for, despite any number of planning. So I think you have to come to a point that do you fundamentally want it? And if you want it, there's a point in life when you take that step, then there is no going back easily. So this too is that kind of a decision that if you want it, you have to take that step. And that's true for so many things. When you learn to swim, you have to let go of the side, and then you have to trust that you can swim, Or I'm sure with baby birds, the first time they jump out, it's very scary, but eventually they learn to fly. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, uh, can you fly or not? And you won't know the answer until you take the leap.
I agree with you. When people read a lot or want to learn a lot about how to do a business, it's the same as they play soccer or dance.
Yes.
You can read about it.
Yes.
You have to try and do it if
Right.
you really want it.
Yes.
But do you believe it's, because it's like very trendy now in YouTube or any social media, everyone can start the business, everyone can do the business. Do you believe in that, or you still think it's like small percentage of people can do this, like 5% or 10%? Same as a doctor or teachers, not everyone can do that kind of job, right? Are you believe it's normal that everyone's supposed to be entrepreneurs, or it's some group of people which have risk tolerant and other abilities to manage stress and other stuff? What do you think?
I think it's a great question. I think there are at least 3 key factors. And this is something that Kellogg helped me, people like you and others helped me develop it. I think you should have this ability of understanding finance, marketing, product development, strategy, and have a network that supports you. Because to do it without it, at some level might seem a little bit more risky. If you have some knowledge of a broad understanding, 360 degree of how to run a company, it always helps as opposed to learning on the job. So that is one thing. Number 2 is, I think there is, you must do your due diligence. As in, when you bring a product to or a service to the market, it must be something that people want and it generates a net positive value for the consumers, and there's an economic or strategic outcome to it. And number 3, I think you need to have some kind of a support structure or some way of soothing yourself that you can take, because unlike a regular paying job where it's kind of very regular and people get bored, life of an entrepreneur is very volatile. You have highs and lows and you never know, no 2 days are alike, so you must be able to manage your stress. So I think those 3 things: a basic knowledge, then having an idea and a plan which has some logic or merit to it, and number 3, your personal self-soothing capabilities are very important.
What about how you manage your stress? What helped you to manage your stress? Meditation, sport,
So
family?
first, I have a brilliant family, a very good network of friends, and third is meditation. And I think there is, human mind has a tendency to constantly think. That's what it's designed to. It's designed to make pattern out of this chaotic world, but we let it run amok. So just like going to a gym and lifting weight, I think we can do same with mind. We can hold the thoughts, and if we have that ability, it really de-stresses me out quite a lot.
I always, when I make some decision, like start something new or keep doing business or something, when I get old,
Yes.
80 years old or 90
Yes.
years old, will I feel bad that I didn't try? Have this make you motivate to start something, or you didn't think that way? When you're old and you sit, you're retired, and you say, oh, I have this ability and I never try.
I had a mentor, he said, hey, can you think about what truly defines you? So I wrote a paragraph. He said, no, a paragraph is too big. Then I said, oh, maybe 2 sentences. He said, no, too big. Then I wrote 1 sentence. It was too big. So this back and forth went for about 6 months. He said, no more than 3 words. So I truly found what was me, and it takes time for everyone. I think it's a wonderful exercise everyone should do. So mine was truth, compassion, and discovery of natural world. So truth and compassion is something that I can practice, but truth be told, I cannot positively impact the natural world just by being an upright citizen. I need to do something more. I feel very passionate about it, Roman, that I want to leave a very positive impact, like Yuan Chenard or Doug Tompkins of North Face and Patagonia. They have, because of these 2 people, they have made a huge positive difference in natural world. I want to, in some ways, be like them. Reduce plastic pollution, keep areas where natural water is coming safe for future generations. And there are people who do not have access to clean drinking water. Human beings are also part of their natural ecosystem, so positively impact their lives. This motivated me.
And when we talk about idea, I remember your first speech,
Yes.
I was present there. You were supposed to have one idea, and after that you moved to another idea.
Yes.
Have you found that this could be interesting for other customers?
Well, great question. So there is this great book by Mark Randolph, That Will Never Work, the
Founder of
Netflix.
Netflix.
So I think that's the part which people miss, is that they search for that perfect idea. It's not the perfect idea. I think the problem should be the perfect. So our problem that I'm trying to solve is, nobody knows how hydrated or dehydrated they are. And for the most part, people stay in a state of dehydration. And they don't realize it, but they have like aches, cramps, headache. They're not thinking at their peak format. So we first started with a wearable idea, but then later on, as we did strategic analysis, there are so many people in wearables business. And people like to, like for example, you have a very nice watch. I don't like wearables, I like classic watches. So this was not an area to go. So we decided to change the form factor and put it into a water bottle. Because if you touch it, just by a simple touch, it should be able to tell if you're hydrated or not. And then you can drink to fix the problem. So just like Netflix, they first thought they will ship DVDs, but that's not what they ended up. They started streaming, but they could never have thought of streaming upfront. They had to jump into the fray to figure that answer out. And I'm sure you and your business have changed. As the universe changes along with you, you react and you respond.
Let's go inside a little bit. If you could
Yes.
share with us maybe some ideas how startup works.
Yes.
This is what very sexy and everyone want to talk about, the like
Yeah.
startup, venture funds, all this stuff. You have an idea and you raise money first from your family, friends, and after that you went to venture funds, or what was your story?
So my story was, well, I think any startup is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. So it seems attractive and sexy from outside, but being in the center of it, every day is like a battle. And compared to when I was working in a large company, even if I did not feel motivated for many days, it was okay, business would keep going, and then you have ups and downs. But in a startup, you are the business. How you feel, how you bring yourself to the day, how you can self-regulate and self-lead impacts the whole trajectory of the business. So how I started was, I had the benefit of an amazing co-founder, and he and I worked on a pitch deck. We talked about the problem, and our ability, partly in our ability to have the science and the vision to detect hydration seamlessly, attracted venture capital investors. Now, it also depends partly on luck, because we might have been the last people who they funded. Had I asked this 6 months later, VC funds have highs and lows, when they have access to money, when they don't have access to money. So I was probably on the very last edge, when I was probably the last company that they funded in their fund.
You mean after the interest rate increase,
Yes,
the venture fund not that
They
doing
don't
well with the
funds, yes.
Okay.
But there is always, that just doesn't mean that there is no venture activity. It's just that you have to work that much harder to get the funds.
And can you share a little bit, because I remember the story that you said I'm also lucky, because
Yes.
luck is also present in any business, right? You can
Yes.
you can open great business, but it can be wrong time and doesn't work.
Yes.
Someone opens the same business the right time and it can be a success.
Yes. Well,
A little bit, if you can share your story. You said
Yes.
about luck.
Right. Well, I think luck is being prepared and being at the right time with the right people. So, though the only thing, Roman, is that you could be prepared, you could have right technology, right people, and still it doesn't work. So I can tell you what I did to make my luck. So most importantly, I'm a very curious person about everything. So when you talk about natural world and physics and how things work, so that made me uniquely positioned in how does hydration work in human body. It's a very difficult subject, because if you're a 100-pound man, Roman, 70 pounds of that is water. But think of it, that means 70 pounds of you is water, but it is distributed inside your cells. So there is water inside the cells, water in the organs, and a very small percentage in the blood. And say if you're measuring SpO2, your oxygen level, it can be 100 and it can go down to 80 and you'll still be okay. But if your hydration changes by 1% up or low, you will die. So you're measuring something very subtle. So having a curiosity and being able to go into new areas and find that thing fascinating, number one. Number two, my mentor and co-founders and the whole collaboration that we did. And having this part is also luck. Is what do you think? I feel a huge part of the success is having the right team. So I was able to find good engineers, good firmware developers, good mechanical engineers, and the collective us were able to make it happen. I think no matter how inquisitive I was, I would not have succeeded had I not had my co-founders. And even then together, we would not have succeeded had we not had the right team. So I think personal conviction, personal motivation, having a very core group of people who support you, and then finding a core team, I think this is the recipe for luck.
Did your family support you when you make this step to start your own?
Yes, my wife and my mom supported me, and primarily because they felt like it's something I'm very passionate about. So I was very lucky in having such a supportive family.
This, I think, is super important.
Yes.
And you decided to start, you said Kellogg helped you and people, environment to make this decision, and that's how you start your idea. What do you think is the most valuable in a Kellogg and executive MBA program for you?
It may sound intangible, but belief in yourself. I think Kellogg really empowers you to believe in yourself. And it provides, like I said, an environment where you are encouraged. And the word encourage is such an interesting one. It gives you courage to do things like this. So one could say that, hey, maybe finance or strategy or operation management. I think it's hard to describe, but everything. But more importantly, the team nature, the encouraging nature of the whole program is what encouraged me to do this.
What is your favorite class so far?
That's hard to say. There are several favorite classes. So I think if I...
You can say a few. It's okay.
Okay, so I think advanced negotiations and negotiation was very good. And I think partly because of the professor and the whole course, because when you talk about 6 Ps like price, promotions, product, there's a P of placement, people. People is very important, right? So I think negotiation teaches us how to deal with people. Then I think finance 1, 2, and 3 was very good. Marketing strategy was very good. Professor Peterson, Professor Chernev, Professor Noor Ktaili, Professor Van Meghem. Every professor, we had such amazing group of professors. I think with EMBA program, we get the best of the best. So right from the first we just had class with Professor Harry Kramer. All our professors are legendary, so it's honor to share time and space and be in the same classroom with them.
And you, because we have such a different ages in our cohort, probably you have the same. If I don't know, is this personal question, how old are you? Because it can be motivate for other people. Someone thinking Tori, they're already old and they don't need to study.
Right.
And I motivate this from people like from your cohort, Tom.
Yes.
And from my like Doug, they older than I am, and it's inspiring me that it's never late to start new business or back to school and study something new. If you can share with us, how old are you?
I am 50 years old. This July 28, which is my birthday, I'll be 50 years old.
That you start your business in 49
yes.
49 years old.
Yes.
This is inspiration. When people think they're too late to do something, it's never late.
Yeah. I don't think, I think when you're younger, the only advantage it might give you is naivety, that you do not know how many ways you can fail. As you grow older, you have seen too much of the world and you say, oh, this won't work or that won't work. But if you maintain that attitude of exuberance, of positivity, at any age you could accomplish that you might have in your teens or 20s or 30s.
Yeah, and I know, I hear about statistics. Most successful startups and businesses started by people after 50, I think. Like KFC, McDonald's,
Yes.
and other many companies. People more with experience, life experience, can handle better stress and other
Yeah.
stuff.
And I think one thing that if you are self-reflective, Professor Kramer talks about self-reflection as a huge part of success. I think that is true for every entrepreneur. You should be very reflective, introspective, because you have to lead. One thing that age teaches you is all the mistakes that you've made to the point. When you're young, you are full of optimism, and I suppose we are all young in mind, but let's say when you're in 20s or early 30s, there's a naive optimism. And I was that way, but now I know all the possible ways I should not make a mistake. So perhaps that gives even an advantage starting later.
Can you share with us about your product?
Yes.
Like, can you describe it? What is this? Because it's very interesting idea.
So Roman, when you're trying to do something, we try to go to the extreme right of the quadrant, something that has the highest quality and something that solves most problems. So we are inventing a new category of wearables, and that is smart water bottle.
Smart water bottle.
So, water bottles have been around for thousands of years, and perhaps the form factor or
The same.
same. So, in one of our Kellogg classes, there is this case about Renovo toilet paper.
I remember. This is
You
one of
remember?
my favorite
Yes.
class
So-
case. Yeah.
So, I was also similarly impressed that toilet paper is something that has been the least innovated. But what could you do with something that has always been the same? So, we wanted to take something that is ubiquitous, but make the best version of it. So what we are trying to do, and we have people from Australia, from Europe, from all over the world that we have taken best craftsmen, engineers, artists, designers who are working to make this, and we'll share video and you can share with the viewers the glass, the whole construction of the lid, and what all it can measure. So the smart water bottle, number one, can track how much water you're drinking, the quality of the water, temperature of the water. Most important thing, which nobody on this planet Earth has done till date, is it can track your hydration simply by touching. So you touch it and it'll tell Roman if you're hydrated, dehydrated, mildly dehydrated, mildly hydrated, or just right. And I think that is such a big thing because for 1% drop in hydration, your mental and physical output is reduced by 50%.
I'll be first customer. My mom will say, you need this bottle because you're not drinking enough water.
Right.
I'm very bad with
I
drinking
think
water.
all of us are guilty of that. And you know what? By the time you're thirsty, it's already too late. Number two, then we can also tell other health parameters like your heart rate, respiration, blood pressure, SpO2. And if you touch it for longer, it can tell your stress level. What we want to find out is if you're hydrated or dehydrated, how well do these other parameters correspond? Nobody knows. The theory is that if you're well hydrated, perhaps your blood pressure, your heart rate, and your stress level is also improved in positive direction. But since there is no such easy thing to measure, so we believe in tracking hydration and tracking its high or low with other key health parameters is going to be an amazing thing.
And when will be launch week of this
So,
product?
as you know, there are known knowns, known unknowns, and finally there are unknown unknowns. But from everything we know, we are hopeful that we launch it in November or December of this year.
November or December.
Yes. Sometimes in Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Nice.
Yes.
And you will plan to do, it will be direct sales like through your website, or you'll use some different channels?
So we want to do two channels. First, we want to do direct sales from our website. Now, the part of appeal is that it has to be a very premium bottle. It should, there are a lot of costs built, because if you think of it, how many water bottles do you have Roman?
0, but my wife has 3.
3, right? I have talked to my friend, and instead of Gurbinder, my wife has like 20 water bottles. So I personally have like 5 or 6. But I think the most that people look is that, hey, can it keep the water cool? Does it poison? Hopefully there's nothing toxic in it. And that's it, right? What else? So once people get it, it's the one bottle that they'll ever need. So we took the inspiration and call it Una. Una is a Scottish word meaning one, and it also has a feminine personality. So water is very feminine, and the bottle is very beautifully created. So we thought we had to give it a name. So Una bottle.
Una bottle, will be
Una.
name.
The one, yeah. So it comes from the word one. So,
And you told me some details, like you said, it will be glass.
yes.
You're not worried it will be glass, will be broke?
It could be broken, but we thought we can make metal or we can make plastic. However, Roman, we want people to enjoy drinking water. There is no material better than glass to enjoy water from. If you taste water from a metal or from a glass or plastic, the taste of the water changes, even though it's the same water.
Agree.
So the
Even
best,
coffee I drink from metal,
yes,
one taste.
yes, ceramic,
Glass,
different taste. So water is best enjoyed from glass. So that's why we wanted to choose glass. Now the glass is going to be very thick, so it's not going to shatter. And number 2, we'll have sleeves that people can put on. And now if you think some of your most precious things like your tablets or phones are made up of glass. And yes, if you drop them very carelessly, it can, but they are also shatter resistant. But you cannot have premiumness without chance of losing it.
I can't wait to see the bottle, and I think it'll be a great
Yes.
product. What is your favorite books? You said one of your probably favorite Netflix founder.
Yes.
Can you say a few more?
One of my favorite books is The Black Swan,
Oh, Nassim Taleb.
Nassim Taleb. And
One of my favorite as well. But I love Anti-Fragile.
Anti-Fragile, yes. And I think for every entrepreneur, we should talk about it. I was talking because until you see the black swan, it is not possible. One of the things that is written in the book is that we must allow ourselves to be exposed to greatness. A lot of people have ideas and dreams that they do not expose or allow greatness to give air to them, so that fire dies within it. So with Una and this hydration detection, half the things that we have achieved were unknown at the time when we first took. So all of us who have the wherewithal or the passion must allow ourselves to find the black swan. So that's one. There's another book which I really liked is Messengers. It talks about how in today's world, the content is not nearly as important as how it is said. For example, if Joe Biden says something versus Donald Trump says the same message, it would be received differently. So as messengers of our brand, our content, how we'll be perceived by others, and our self-awareness of being a messenger is very important. Another book is a great book which is called Catalyst by Jonah Berger, is something I've read. I'm currently reading this very, very nice book, which is What Makes Ideas Tick by Chip and Dan Heath. So it talks about ideas being simple, unexpected, concrete, so on and so forth.
Three books for entrepreneurs to read.
Yes,
Start with Black Swan. It's one of my
absolutely.
favorite
Yes.
author. I like how he talk about that he never hired people with high grades. He always hires the people with like something in the middle.
Yes.
He said the people who's too smart, they know how to do it like right, but if something's going wrong, they don't have any idea how to do it. He's very interesting personality.
Yes.
I like him. Yeah. I wish you all the best with your project, and I believe we'll record another interview when your startup will be successful. I hope you'll give me this option. First
Yes.
one, I will have
Yes.
to be on presentation or somewhere. So Roman was first, and I give
Yes.
him opportunity to take
That would
interview.
be so nice. The day we launch, maybe you do record the podcast.
I would love to do
How would
that.
that be? That'd be awesome.
I love to do
Bro,
this.
thank you.
All
Pleasure,
the
my dear.
best. Good luck.
Thank you.